Hello, Adrian. How are you today?
Hi.
Hi. Welcome to the GenXcellent
Welcome.
Podcast. Yes. So happy to have you here. So
I'm happy to be here.
what did you think about the intro about Ms. Whoopi
I
Goldberg?
loved it. It was wonderful. I mean, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
First episode, dedicating it to Whoopi Goldberg. You go, girl. Yeah.
Yes. I
She
think she
still definitely deserves it. She's a favorite of mine, that's for sure.
Yes, I think about all her films and I just think she's just fantastic. And even when I watch her on The View, I just love her personality, the way she just like she lets her hair down and she just does what she does. And she's great just as she is.
Oh yes. Oh yes.
Mm-hmm.
I do. I just love Whoopi excuse me, for everything because first she's a New Yorker, so there's that.
Right.
Yeah, she's a New Yorker, and I like the fact that she came from the bottom. Now she here. I like the fact that you know she's dyslexic.
Oh, I didn't know that.
You didn't know that she was dyslexic?
No,
Yeah,
I
she's
didn't know
dyslexic, honey. A true genius
that.
in
Okay.
disguise.
Yes, that goes with the territory.
A
Yeah.
true genius in disguise. They always know. I guess so much a genius till she was dyslexic.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I
Love
love
her,
the
love her,
fact
love
that
her
she's
though.
unapologetically herself. Like she is who she
An
is.
EGOT.
Right. Yes, right. Fabulous. Every award.
I know. I,
Yes.
I I don't hear you that well. Maybe
Oh,
turn your computer or something?
oh, you don't hear me that well? I have my volume as high as it'll go.
Okay, maybe it's the might come out great, so let's
Mhm,
continue. Yeah, so yeah, we'll be a queen indeed,
mhm.
a queen indeed. I wish that she would do something else, and she might be, yes, I wish that she would do something else. I'm for like, another theatrical something that I could go to, while we all have our last days here on earth, and that's not a bad thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I saw her not too long ago in something, but she wasn't really, I don't know, she just like played a small role. She wasn't like one of the main characters. She just
Right. That's true. I did see her in something too. I can't remember what that was.
I can't that's what I'm saying. I can't even remember what the
I
movie
can't
was.
remember what that was, but they did. Somebody did have her in something, and that's good. I like how they, you know,
Incorporated her.
bringing everybody into like just even just little scenes. So you just see their face and you be like, oh, that's Whoopi.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so and so. Yeah, I like how they do that. I like how they doing that now. The youngins are doing that.
Yeah. Yeah. So now let's talk about you, Adrienne.
Okay, what you want to know?
Well, you tell me all about the main thing I know about you is that you are a retired military personnel. So that's your whole career. Can you talk about your global travel and being in the military?
Okay, well, let me first. Can I just take it? Can I take it where I want to take it?
You sure can.
Okay. So let me just say that I am Adrianne Booth Jackson, the Esthering Queen,
Okay.
ABJ. Okay. That's who I am. That's who I'm going to be out here in this world. Okay.
Okay.
As
Okay.
I move forward. Okay.
Okay.
And I want to be called the Esthering Queen because I got a podcast called the Esthering Podcast.
Oh,
Okay.
great.
And
Okay.
that podcast is ultimately going to improve the lives of foster children. You know,
Mhm,
yeah,
mhm.
my big deal is before I just move forward and continue to tell you about myself. My big deal and my purpose for that Esther podcast is to bring the foster care awareness to the world,
Mm,
mainly because there's over 400 children in foster care right now nationwide.
right.
Um, I'm in the state of Georgia, so there's like 11 thousand foster children in the state of Georgia, over 11,000 in the state of Georgia, and then I live in Fulton County inside of Georgia, and there's like about 400. About
Wow.
a little,
Okay.
yeah, a little over 400 in my Fulton County.
Okay.
And but there's like 1.1 million people also in Fulton County. So I think, Fulton County people, that
Mm,
we can tackle that.
mhm.
There's a million of us here, and
Right.
430 kids in foster care, between the relatives and the parents, and you know um adoption options.
Right. Right.
We can get some things hot and popping, but the more awareness, I believe, that I
Mhm.
speak into uh the universe
Right.
about foster care, um I think those numbers will go down. That's what we're hoping to see. So yeah, let's remember that. We got 432 in Fulton County,
Mhm. Mhm. Okay.
400,000 in the nation. Let's see those. We're gonna see those numbers go down. We're gonna see those numbers go down, and we're gonna all be thankful for that, because we're all gonna have played a part. That's me. Okay, so before this,
Mhm.
before this motivation to be the Esthering Queen and have an Esthering podcast, or
Right.
to say this also, so okay, say so Esthering. I made that up. Okay,
Okay.
I made that up. Esthering basically came from my grandmother and my love of the book in the Bible, Esther. Okay,
Okay. Right.
favorite book in the Bible, Esther, and my favorite grandmother. Oh, I shouldn't say my favorite grandmother. No,
I know.
I love them both the same. I do.
You are
Okay, they're both
fabulous.
in heaven. I love them both the same.
Okay.
But my mother's
Your
mother, her name
mother's
is Esther.
right, grandmother.
Can you hear me well?
Yes, sure.
Okay, so my mother's mother, her name was Esther, and she was just, I was closer to her because uh, we lived in New York together,
Mhm.
because my father's mother, she did live a long time, but she was in Louisiana, you know,
Okay.
and then I joined the army, and so, there's that. But yeah, so my grandmother was great. She was a woman who worked hard all her life. She was an Eastern Star for those who's concerned about that. And she just did great things. Okay, my grandmother left a house that is now worth over $2 million in Brooklyn. Okay,
Okay. Right.
okay, and I, the Esthering Queen, plan to get it back.
Okay.
Okay,
Well,
yes,
okay.
yes, yes. Okay, I said it right here this day.
Mhm.
So we'll come back one day when I have that house back, and we
Okay.
can look back on this. So that's
Well,
the
did she leave it to someone in the family or
odyssey.
you say
Well,
left
she
it?
did.
Okay.
She did. But they it was my mother and her siblings. But of course, when you have a lot of people, on one thing, it's all about let's just sell it and get the money. Sometimes you get people that come together if everything is great, if situations are great, and you can keep it. But that wasn't the case, and they wound up selling it back in, I want to say, like, it must be back in like 84, because I remember that's when my daughter was born, and I still say for little or nothing.
Okay.
It wasn't $2 million, but everything did go skyrocketed.
Right. You
Lots
know
of
what
things
I find?
skyrocketed over the last, you know
I
10, 20
find
years anyway.
right. I find
And,
that
and
a lot of
everybody know what happened to them brownstones in Brooklyn. you
Mhm.
know so
Right.
that's how that came to be.
Mhm. You know
But
what
I'm
I
gonna get it
think is that a lot of people don't realize, like, when they're siblings and they have a family home or something like that, people tend to want the money out of the house. They don't realize, like, that's your family legacy. Like, whatever money you might get that you might think that you need. And to me, in the long run, I think it's better to keep the property. I think a lot of times when people do divvy up the property, sell things, then they look back on how much land or how big the house was, and they have regrets because the property they could have gotten, the property would be worth much more at this point than whatever they sold it for. And they think back like, oh my God. I mean, even in my family history, they talk about all this property that my great grandfather had down south. His name was King
Mhm.
Jenkins. and they talk about, oh, this land in Waycross, Georgia, we had all this land, and he had sharecroppers on his land, and my grandmother and her 13 siblings didn't want to have anything to do with being in the South. So basically they let they sold the land, they on pieces and stuff, and they I don't know, something happened
Or they
with
don't pay the taxes. A lot of times people
right.
just
I'm like, you mean
they're
to tell
not
me
interested, so they let it go. You don't never let it
they
go.
just
I'd
I'm
rather
like,
hear you sold it and you
right,
got something out of it that at least could help you in your journey in life than for you to just not pay the taxes.
right,
Okay, that we're not gonna do. So, my grandmother did leave it to her children,
right.
and they did the best that they could do.
Uh-huh.
And like for me now, and even me then, I, they didn't come to me. They didn't ask me or any of my cousins,
Right.
of
Uh-huh.
their children at the time, about that. We just wasn't in that mind frame. It was like, okay, so it's yours. If
Uh-huh.
what you gonna do with it, it wasn't like, okay, we should try to hold on to it at all costs.
I think
The brownstone wasn't in its best
mhm.
state, but
Right.
it still was a brownstone and it still was property that somebody worked hard for. My grandmother, I know she worked hard for it. I
Right.
remember days I went with my grandmother into them buildings, Department of Education, all them buildings down there in Brooklyn, and clean those buildings,
Mhm.
clean those offices. Yes,
Right.
she did. I do remember that because my mother was working, and so my grandmother would just how to keep the kids,
Right.
and so you had to do whatever they was gonna do. They didn't stop their business because they had you.
Yeah, so
Um,
you the little helper, basically,
yeah,
right?
but I didn't have them, but they already knew Adrian was I wasn't me.
Well, you
They
was
didn't work me like that. At least my grandmother didn't.
right.
My grandmother didn't. If my aunt, she would have been like, Adrian, this what we doing, and I would have, I would have had to kick in. But
Right.
my grandmother, my grandmother was like, she just do her little thing, honey. I mean, as peaceful as a lamb. I believe she reincarnated herself in my daughter because my daughter,
Okay. She's just like her?
if you just come around her, you just get that aura. She ain't gonna bust a grape. You hear me? It's
Okay.
always calm and cool, and it'll be all right, and you're gonna see another day, And I'm
Mhm.
thinking, what? Who you my child? Okay. Because
Okay.
Adrian is not that girl. Okay.
Right.
I can go from 1 to 10,000.
Okay.
The old me, I always say the old me because I call myself I'm in control. This me, I'm in control. I can woosah.
Yeah, but you got fire in your spirit, right?
Burning high,
You got fire in your spirit.
burning
What's
high and roaring,
wrong with that? Right?
burning high and roaring. And so, but I exuded into the good things,
Of course. Right.
into the good things
This
like this
you get
podcast.
in good
I
trouble
got you
now.
going up in here, huh?
You get in good trouble now. Good
Right.
trouble. You right?
I stay in my peace because I realize sometimes when I just step out the door, I get in the car and as soon as I get to the light, I'm like, I'm just like taking in all kind of directions,
Mhm.
you
Tell me,
know?
right? You gotta pray. Put on your shield
Oh,
of
I
promise.
pray going to the elevator, getting in the elevator, getting to the car, all that, because just to keep my peace.
Mhm.
My peace is so very important.
Tell
But
me.
you still want to hear about me?
Yes, of course.
Okay, so I'm just like Cardi B. I'm just a little English smiggly girl from the Bronx.
Uh-huh.
Okay. But
Mhm.
actually, I lived in Brooklyn till I was 11 years old. And then my mother took a job that brought us to the Bronx. My mother and my father took a job that brought us to the Bronx because uh, my mother was always in some kind of social work. She was a New York City police woman, and
Wow.
then postal worker. And
Mhm.
then, the more she got educated, the more she, just got deeper into things. And, she had a master's in counseling,
Mhm.
from
Mhm.
Webster University in case
Okay,
somebody
great.
needs to know. And then, so my mother and father were house parents in a
Mhm.
group home. Okay.
Oh,
So though
nice.
I am an only child, I kind of like never was alone.
That's good, right? I would say.
So a group home of juvenile delinquent boys.
Okay.
Okay. Which wasn't bad for me because I see, they still were kids that were close to my age. They were older than me, and they were definitely more experienced than me, and I definitely didn't socialize, should I say, with them. But we were all in the same house. We all ate breakfast, lunch, and dinner together if you were in the house.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes the mother would allow me, as long as she was like in the kitchen area, which was a big kitchen, big long table, because with 7 boys, okay,
What?
then me, my mother, there's 10 of us in the house, right?
Okay.
Um, Pretty much after 4 o'clock, because everybody's back from school and all that good stuff, right? But
Right.
anyway, um, I just said that to say that I'm from the Bronx. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so I'm from the Bronx since 11 years old, and so I claim the Bronx. I like the Bronx better.
So, what do you like, the Bronx better or the Brooklyn? Which one?
I like the Bronx better. I like the
Okay.
Bronx better. Yeah.
Okay.
In Brooklyn was kind of like, you had to fight all your life. You know what I'm saying? Brooklyn was about the fight. Okay. You go to school and you knew you gonna fight. They gonna figure out real quick, or are you the one that could be bullied, or we just gonna, she gonna fight every time, so let's leave her alone.
Mhm.
And I just never was the one who's gonna be bullied, okay? Because I
No, I
can do
hear
the
that.
math.
No, you gonna stand up for your
I
rights.
can do the math. I can do
Yeah.
the math. They ain't gonna stop bullying you.
Mhm.
So, but it is what it is. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So yeah.
Well, I'm a Philly girl, but to me, I feel like I had the best of both worlds
Philly
because
girl, what?
I'm a Philly girl,
Okay. Straight born
but
and raised?
born and raised. But
Okay.
this is
Okay,
why I say I
Philly.
feel like I had the best of both worlds because when I graduated from high school, I moved to New York and I already had friends in New York City. So when I got there, like I hit the ground running. My mom, she lived there. She lived in Manhattan and East Harlem, First
Yeah.
Avenue. And I tell you, like back in the 80s, that was, oh my God, when I reflect back, to me, I feel like I was there at the time when all the New
It was
Jack
hot and
City,
popping.
oh, like
Everything was
I
it
think
was
back,
great in the 80s to be in
was
New
going
York.
on back then.
Yeah.
And like even like I see documentaries now where they talk about the Latin Quarter, how all these artists started off there. I was one of the people going to the Latin. Me and my girls, we like, let's go to the
No, I'm
Latin
taking my
Quarter. We
glasses off, honey. I
downtown
don't need these
42nd
glasses on to
Street.
see, honey. I'm taking my glasses off.
Yeah,
They
so we
getting on my
did it.
nerves. Until I can see them.
Yes, I
No,
can
I got
see
them on. I don't need to see. I can see you.
yeah. I see a lot of little glare in my glasses, but I need my glasses on so I can see. So yeah, but
Yes, yes, no. But
that was
anyway,
definitely the good old days, the 80s, the 90s, and 2000. I left New York City after 9/11, kind of like a couple years.
mhm,
It was after that it just, it wasn't the same for me. The Twin Towers fell down and
that was devastating.
that was too
That
much.
was devastating. I was
I did
devastated
I
when I went back and
yeah.
visited the uh,
Mhm.
memorial. Yeah, I was just devastated. I was like, that's crazy because I seen it in TV
No,
on
I
TV.
was there. I was
You,
there.
you, you was there?
I got
You was near there?
no, listen, I used to work on Water Street. I worked at AIG right next to the water. When I got out of the train station that day, I looked up and saw the gaping hole in the building and I couldn't figure it out. I was like, the only thing I thought was, how are they going to put the fire out all the way up there? And it was just a whole lot going on. And when the building did fall, like when they were saying that the building is falling, like
Mm-hmm.
I thought the way the building it fell in, like fell down, but I thought it was gonna fall over and then like all the buildings, it was gonna be like a domino effect. So
Right, right.
I
That
was
I can see that. I can see thinking that
that's what I
it
was
would
thinking.
hit something else
Right. So instead of it
instead of
falling
just go down.
right, it fell down. But I'm in the street, like trying to figure out, well, where am I going to be when it falls? Because if it falls, then the building,
Absolutely.
that was
Yeah,
the worst.
yeah. Be out
Mm,
the way.
that was some, I'm
Yeah,
telling you,
be
that
out the way, hunty.
took
Be
a
out the way.
toll on me. Yeah, but I still love New York. I still visit, but
Oh, this
that
gonna be my New York summer. I
okay.
feel like I've been away from New York just like too long. I am a native New Yorker.
Mhm.
It's just in my blood.
Right.
Everything about it is crazy. It's all that they say it is. But I just know that anywhere else that I have ever went in the world, I felt like I'm good. This ain't
Right.
New York. You know what I'm saying? Like this ain't New York. So I felt like, it's like it's true what the song says, if you can make it there, you can make it anywhere. So because I
Tell
always
me, right?
always felt
What
like
I love
this ain't
about.
New York, you know what I mean? So
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no, no, no. I'm just saying that's how I look at the rest of the world. And that's
Mm,
why I guess I was able to be such a, you know, big traveler and go
mm.
places and feel like I'm all right. It just ain't New
Yeah,
York.
you can make yeah, you can make it because I think New York makes you tough. Like you have tough
It
skin.
does.
You have to have tough
You have
skin,
no choice.
right? You have to have
Well,
tough skin.
when I
So
say tough, I mean alert,
yes, right.
vigilant.
Right. And
You know,
it makes
because
you
as a child, as a
be
very
brave
young
too. Because
child,
have you ever been in New York? This is the funny part. And this is the stuff I think about when I took my son there. Like when you see people that are having issues and stuff, like how you walk, but you put on your face so that they won't really bother you. Like they could be across the street cussing somebody out or going off, and you just walk down the street like,
put that
okay,
face on like, what is going on? Like, let me
you
by.
walking
Excuse
there,
me.
but you
It's me.
know,
Excuse me.
keep
I'll
it
excuse
moving,
me in a minute. I'll say,
and then
excuse me.
so they pretty much
I
know,
ain't got nothing
like,
to do with that. Can I go through,
right,
please?
yes.
Yeah.
So it's just something you could be in the middle of whatever. And I mean, I've been in the middle of things where it's the middle of a shootout. And you're
Well, I've definitely been in places where shooting was going on.
yes, right.
I
Yes,
mean,
exactly.
even when I was younger, even though I know you're younger than me, but when I
Right.
was younger, like in the late 70s, right? I'm still young. I'm high school age.
Okay.
Because I went to college at 80. I graduated from high school in 80.
Hmm.
Um, when we would go during the summers, the summers prior to that, when we would go in the summers to the little center, they had parties at the center. Okay.
So did we in Philly. Yeah.
Right, right, right. So you go to the party in the center, got the DJ and everything's
Yes.
loud and dark. You knew there was gonna be some
Those-
shooting.
Listen, with them big speakers that you can't
Yeah,
stand
yeah,
next to,
yeah.
you're about to go deaf. You're like,
Yeah. Speak as big as
oh my
high as
God.
my kitchen counters back there. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying?
Oh, I love it. I love
Bigger
it.
than that, actually.
You come
Like
out
like
there,
like
your
speakers
head
like
is
when you go to the
swimming.
concert. Speakers
Yeah.
like when you go to the concert, but they got this in the center. Okay.
Right. That. Okay.
Deafening.
I
Deafening.
know. Right?
Yeah, I
Too
love
loud. Too loud.
going
Yeah.
there with your little friends and hope
Yes.
nobody bother you, hoping to see the little who you came to see there.
Yeah.
So, it was all good. It was great.
Yeah. No, you know what I love? Remember all that jewelry we used to wear?
Girl, I wear that jewelry. I'm a New Yorker, and that I think shows in me. I wear my jewelry. I'm a jewelry. Where they at? Where they at? Where they at? Where they at?
The big earrings.
Oh
Oh,
yes. Well, I'm
oh,
trying to show you something. I'm trying to show you, girl. I
oh,
do
okay.
me
Yes. Okay.
all
Yeah.
day, all night.
Yeah. I had my big earrings on
Yeah,
during
I
night.
do. I
Yes.
do. I'm just a real gold girl. So if you see my stuff, you can already know it's real because I don't do the imitation. I just don't do it. I mean, I
Let me
figure like
yeah.
I always said, um, why bother?
No, we call it slum. That's the fake stuff. That's the
Yeah.
fake stuff.
Yeah,
No,
I just don't do it because either if I don't have it, then I don't wear it. And so it's that's how I think of it. It's not that serious where I have to perpetrate.
did they used to sell the fake jewelry out on the street? Remember how they used to have people? I know in Philly they
They
did.
still sell it, and
They
people
would
still buy it.
sell fake. Do they still do that?
Fake jewelry
Like try to pretend like it's 14 karat gold and you getting a
in New
deal?
York.
Yes.
Well, I'm sure you probably can get it. I don't know if
I haven't
they're
seen
selling
hustlers
stuff
like
like
that.
that,
Right.
like and how they're selling it. You know what I mean? Like, is it on a table, or is somebody walking up to you with the coat? Stuff in the coat because that used to be back in the day. They have it in the coat. You know what I'm saying?
I
And
know,
please
wait a
don't
minute.
go down no
For
alleys if somebody try
18,
to
for
get you to go down no
$50.
alley to see
Right.
anything. It
Right.
ain't that. If you're a visitor of New York, like me, I'm not having it.
Mhm. Mhm.
Like, do I look like I want, I mean, you gotta do that when you go overseas too, because they got the fake stuff all there for you. Okay.
Overseas?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like
Well, we
where?
all know what China's all about.
Tell
I've
me
never
some
been
of
to
the
China,
places that you've
but
gone.
Dubai, yeah, they
Okay.
they king. They have all the stuff,
In
all
Dubai?
the fakies.
Well,
I mean,
wait a
have
minute.
you? of too now because it is Dubai. But
Like,
they got an area you can go to and get all the fake stuff look like real. Like
oh, what?
nobody could tell it except somebody who's always online like me, looking
Okay.
at the designer stuff. So I can tell it. I can look at it real quick and get you right.
Oh,
Now, I don't have nothing to say because that's you. You know, if you want to wear fake stuff, if you that's your business. That's what I've learned. I had to learn that. I had to learn that.
mhm.
Yeah. Like, I'd be like, why people wear fake stuff? Why do you want to?
Well,
Hey,
I
it is.
think that sometimes, what I would say is it depends. Like, if I look at things like a lifestyle, I'm not gonna have a $10,000 ring on driving a $2,000 car.
Absolutely.
I'm not
Now that,
doing it.
that don't make no sense. I
I'm not gonna
feel the
have
same way. I feel
it
the
has
same way.
it has to kinda match. And I'm not gonna have a $32,000 pocketbook and I'm living in an
Well, I'm not gonna
apartment.
have a $32,000 pocket because I refuse.
Well, yeah, but I'm
I'm
saying
not
that
gonna buy a Birkin because that to me, unless something's
that's
going on with the
excessive. It's
unless something is going on with that Birkin that I have no knowledge of. You know, because people say that about the Rolex, but there's something going on with the Rolex. You know what I'm saying? There's
mhm,
some value in it that keeps
yeah,
value, that
it
keeps that
does.
gains and keeps
Listen,
value. There's a reason why you buy Rolexes or certain Rolexes because it keeps the value, you know.
right.
But I can't see a pocketbook keeping no value.
No, I think they do the Hermes bags, I think. I'm not sure, but
But I mean, I just
it's
can't
just
see
not
it.
me. I'm not gonna spend that much money.
I mean,
I
because when you
only
if
buy
you use it, if it goes into the streets and you put it on a table, you see what I'm saying?
right,
You're using it, and you don't even have to do that. It's leather. You leave it in somewhere too long, it'll start getting sweaty and stuff like that. So now I got to refrigerate it.
right.
I gotta keep it cool and all the other stuff. It's not. Well, I ain't there yet. You know, I never say never, but I ain't there
I mean,
yet.
to me, I would have to really be wealthy. I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. I ain't there yet. Well, I
I
could
still don't
think.
think I would spend I wouldn't
Okay, I deserve a Hermes. I mean, but if I make gazillion millions, maybe. But
I
I
don't
got children to feed out here in these streets, so maybe not.
I always think about no matter what. I mean, I guess those are rich people problems. I don't really know about that, but I
Right.
do think that no matter what, I always think about like people suffering. And so why would I walk around with a $50,000 handbag when people are hungry somewhere else? Like I could use that money to feed people or do
Well,
something.
here's what I have to say
How I
about that,
feel.
and that's just to be a little controversial.
Mhm.
If you got $1 billion
Yeah. If
and
I
you
have a
already given to everybody, I mean, even the Bible tell you always have the poor amongst you. You're gonna always have the poor amongst you. You can't worry about, okay, this is gonna take me. Matter of fact, I just read this in the Bible yesterday or day before. Okay, you know, the lady who uh bought the alabaster box of
oh,
oil to Jesus and did his feet, right?
right.
Right. This was just before Passover. I mean, I just read this, right? Just before Passover.
Was that Esther with the alphabet? Who had which one was
No,
it?
this was just a woman. In the Bible, he doesn't name her. It's just a
Oh,
woman. This is in
okay,
the book of
okay. All right.
Mark. I'm reading the book of Mark right now.
Okay.
So so he's talking about this woman. I mean, I just read this. Like I ain't even I'm out the chapter, but I'm still in that book, about chapter 14, 15, something like that. So anyway, he the woman brings that oil in the alabaster box. And I always remember that alabaster box because I like marble like stuff, you know, and that alabaster is hot popping. Okay. You seen alabaster before?
Is it white?
Yeah.
Okay, because
It's like a white marble. It's beautiful. I
I
mean,
got
in
white
Egypt and
marble
stuff,
pot.
they got mosses made of alabaster floor. It's to die for. Okay.
No,
So
wait a
anyway,
minute. I got something to show you. Hold on, hold on, hold on.
where you going, girl?
I'm coming back. When you said alabaster, I don't know how we got on this topic, but this is something that I found.
Because we're talking about why you think people should
You see this?
I do see it. It's white and
That's
gold.
to me, I look at this like the alabaster box. When I saw
Is
this,
it alabaster?
it's made out of, I'm not sure
You
what
think
kind
it's
of
marble? Is it
marble.
glass?
It's definitely
Is it
marble.
would it break if you threw it on the floor?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't know what the stone is, but
It
when
might
I
be
saw
marble.
when I saw this, I thought about the alabaster box. I was like, oh, I
Mhm.
want to get that. So I put
You
things
thought
in.
about the alabaster box,
Yes.
yes.
So
Mhm.
I don't know how we got on that topic, but I just show you
Imma
my.
tell you how we got on the topic because that's how we're gonna get off with I finish explaining exactly what it is, because this is what's important,
Okay, go.
okay? It's important, I think, because it became important to me. It stuck out to me. I read that probably many times because I've read that book in the Bible many times. But, when she put it when she got that oil out that alabaster box,
Right.
and she put it on Jesus' feet. The people around him at the time, it wasn't necessarily his disciples, but it was definitely the I don't know, the Sadducees or whoever they call them people,
Oh,
whoever it was that, huh?
Sadducees.
Yeah, them. I
Okay.
can't think of the name, but whoever those people were that was trying to crucify him anyway. You know what I
Oh
mean?
my
They was
goodness.
looking down on him for any little thing he did. Like,
Oh,
oh, so now he gonna
goodness.
look at this woman. She wasting her money by using that great oil on you. But Jesus was getting ready to go die. And so he made a point,
Right.
okay, in saying about the poor always be amongst you. Like you worried about, don't worry about if she's wasting this oil when someone else could be using it. It could be going to a better purpose. Because
Oh,
this purpose we got going on right now, because I'm your
right.
Lord and Savior. I mean, you see what I'm saying? I'm paraphrasing, but this is what he was saying. You
Hmm.
know, you and he also mentioned at that time, at that particular time, so we could use this for other times because that's why there's a Bible. Okay, you always going to have the poor amongst you. You know what I'm saying? But right now, you know, I'm your savior, and it's doing some good. It's doing some good. So I only use that to say that if I'm a billionaire, and I am definitely, I'm not Elon Musk. Okay, I don't, and I shouldn't say that because I don't know what he's doing with his money besides the other things he's doing. But if you're giving in many ways, if you are giving in many ways already to people, that's helping, you know, people in the world.
Right.
Okay. Um, the children, the poor, whatever, then you are, however you got that money, it's yours. You work for it, hopefully. Your family worked for it, somebody worked for it, and it's yours now. And You know, if $32,000 is like, 32 cents to you,
Maybe. You never know. I to
and
me,
you happen to really like it, because I find there's a many other bags out there that I like, you know, that's not a Hermes, because that's a very plain bag in my eyes.
I
It's
don't
just
know.
we all know it. It's a staple because we all know what it is when you see it,
Right.
because they made that known.
Uh-huh. I
But
don't know. I don't, you know what? I guess we would have to be there to feel the mindset.
no, I feel the mindset, because I people look at me, 'cause, I buy designer stuff. I do.
Right.
I buy jewelry. I do. I
Okay.
like
I
it.
love jewelry though. I
Yeah,
love
I
jewelry.
like it.
I
But
do.
I position myself always in my life either to be able to afford it or I save for it. It's
Right.
my money. I
Yes.
earned it and I sacrificed. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah, nobody's gonna tell me what to do, especially like my last 20 years of my life. Nobody's gonna tell me to do with my money after I done sat and ran from rockets and in the bunkers and ran from snakes and scorpions and did all the crazy things that I had to do to survive, to live another day.
Right.
And then when I come home, if I want to buy me a bracelet or buy me a Burberry t-shirt, excuse me?
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
That's one of my questions that I have for you too. Like, how has being in the military shaped your life as it is today?
Okay,
It's
well, the
so.
military didn't give me any money.
Mhm.
The military didn't give me any money. It may gave me some discipline.
Okay.
Um,
Do you feel like it made you, like you just said, your mindset is so different? Like, I paid the price, so now I'm going to enjoy
Yeah, but I
my.
didn't really. Okay, so I did do 20 years in the United States Army. I did do that, and I did learn a lot while I was in the Army, um, in a lot of ways, how to deal with people,
Right.
um, how to respect people, how to have compassion for others. But Army in no way, when I retired at 39, the maximum amount of income that I made annually from the Army was like $45,000. Now, that was 2002.
Okay.
You got people in 2025 making $45,000, and that's a shame. But when I retired, that's what I was making. So that wasn't a lot of money. But
Okay.
what it did prepare me for
Mhm.
was the life ahead. In
Right.
the last 20 years of my life, I've made always six figures.
Okay. So
100, 200, $300,000 a year, that kind of money. I'm gonna get me a Burberry shirt
that's
because I
right.
can, because I
That's
could,
right. I
you
hear you.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, that's what it said. Now, think a lot of things have drastically changed, even in my life in the last 2 years, where I was like, oh my God,
Mhm.
and financially. So in my closet, I'm like, I got all these big time designer clothes, you
Right.
know, and I was strapped for money.
That's what I'm talking about. See, I don't want
That's
to be
how much,
strapped
but I
for money.
still live that life.
That's
The
I don't want to be
millionaires that
strapped
go
for money with
broke,
a
the
$42,000
millionaires that go,
bag in my closet.
what you
Don't
say?
I don't ever want to be strapped for money and have a $42,000 bag in my closet. That's crazy.
I'm sorry, but
Well, I mean,
here's
not
what I
like
have to
selling
say.
or something,
Here's
but
what I
that's
have to say. I'd rather have had that experience than
ow.
never had it at all.
Why? Okay. Well, no, that's the funny part because we talked about you being a shopper, like you love to shop.
Oh, always
So
like the
is
shop.
that so? Do you think if you spend $42,000 on a handbag or 50,000 on a handbag, that's an experience? Is that what you see it as?
No, the experience is the life that I had that allowed me to buy.
Oh,
You see
you're
what I'm
okay.
saying?
Right. So you're saying
I,
at the
I was
same
I was
time,
living a life. I was
well,
living
oh,
a life. I was making. You see what I'm saying? I wasn't making $2,000, three. I wasn't making 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. I wasn't making that a year. Okay. I was making money to buy that shirt. I could buy that shirt.
right. But I'm saying, you know how people when they talk about like the past, when they had this and they had that, and they wish that they had like saved the money or been smarter or
Well,
wise.
they should not have wished that because what? Because you don't know what the future holds.
That's true.
Yeah, yeah. I can say,
I mean,
um,
there's nothing wrong with living. I feel like I want to live a beautiful life.
you can live in a hut and lose a
Like,
hut. You can live in
right.
a hut and lose a hut.
Right.
You can live your $50,000 life or $60,000 life and lose that,
Right. So I
and
see.
still have tried to spare yourself from losing that
Right.
because
I hear
nothing
you.
is promised to you.
Yes, that's the way of
You
looking at
know.
it. Yeah. I
So
like
that to me is how I feel about it. And here's how I feel. Okay. When I during my last couple of years, only two,
okay.
my last 2 years of strife, should I say, you
Okay.
know, and they all here's I always try to go back to the Bible. Here's what the Bible says. When it's time of feast, that's when you should
Right.
make sure you're storing
Yes.
away. If
Yeah.
you think things are going good for you right now,
Amen.
then
Right.
that's when you should always I saved my money. Okay.
All right. Right.
I did not work the last 2 years, but I lived like I'm used to living the
Yes.
last 2 years.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
Um, I seen things get tight. I'm not used to like feeling like, hey, I don't know. I better, you know,
Pull back the
I
purse.
never missed a monthly payment, and my payment is a lot.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, my mortgage is a lot of money. My HOAs is $700 a month. Okay.
Uh-huh.
So HOA. Okay. So yeah. So I
Right.
never missed that, but that was because I made a lot of money. So I saved it. You know what I mean? It wasn't
Right.
like I'm living a lifestyle beyond my means because
Right.
that was the job that I had.
Right. And that's
It's
beautiful.
like, for instance, the people that's getting laid off now, during this Trump administration, I'm sure they're shook a little bit because that's jobs that they thought they had. And these
That's
are government people. You see what
I
I'm
feel
saying?
like that's so painful, you know. But I guess any losing any job is painful when you don't expect it. but like you said, when people
But
feel
there's some jobs is temporary. Some jobs you could lose today or tomorrow. So
right,
at least before the Trump administration, like even in the military, like that general. Well, not him.
right.
That general. He was working for the government. He's good, okay, because
Mhm,
he got a retirement check. That's
mhm,
delicious, okay.
mhm.
That 4-star general that retired,
Okay.
yeah, he got a retirement check. That's delicious,
Mhm,
okay. And so, don't cry for him. Don't cry for him. He could just he was doing us a favor, okay, by staying in that position in the government. I do believe, I'm sure he is well off.
mhm,
And if not, then
mhm. But
he had his chance.
you're saying the other people who caught it by surprise, and they're just like, you know,
Yeah, but you got regular hardworking people that was still not that the general wasn't hardworking because he was, but
I know what you mean. Who kind of thought their life was gonna be
there
good.
were
Like,
people, there were people who lost jobs
like
that was
I'm
making
gonna
fifty
retire.
thousand
Like
dollars
they're
a year.
planning their retirement and everything,
But
and
there's people who lost jobs that was
they have
making $50,000 a
everything
year.
riding on. Hmm?
So there's people who just lots of people who just lost their jobs that was making like $50,000 a year, a normal, decent salary,
Right,
and they lost their job,
right.
and they might, and that, depending on if you got one or two incomes in the house, if they were married, and maybe that'll help out, but that could hurt them a little bit. I mean, you could have a 401k, but how much a 401k got in it?
Use that money, and then I don't know. Things can go real
It's
quick.
good. You can use it. I do what I had to do. I did what I had to do. I used mine. I'm like, I can gladly tell somebody that, it's my testimony. It's my testimony.
Hmm.
But on top of that, I'm glad that I had saved money. I had money where I could not work for 2 years, and
Mm-mm.
still live my
Right,
life. Okay.
right. Nice. Right.
Like I said, times got hard, but thank God that's over. But
Hmm.
like my mother said, whatever bring you to your knees, thank God, But
Amen.
it got me closer to God,
Right.
trusting in Him, having faith, knowing that that He's going to take care of me, and He did.
And you know what? I think sometimes God, like when I'm going through things mentally or whatever, and I start panicking, I just have to reflect back because I just think like, wasn't he there before? Like, why are you
Mhm.
tripping? He was there for you before, so why are you gonna act like he's not gonna be there for you now? So sometimes I think it's like a test of faith, like, keep the faith. He wants to make sure that,
It's
that
always a
faith
test of
is
faith.
strong.
It's
Mhm.
always a test of faith because you got a devil out here roaming,
Oh,
seeking who he can devour. So
right.
yeah,
Mhm. Mhm.
mhm, yeah, yeah.
So, is there any advice that you would give to, like, young people who are considering the military now? Because you
I
said you
always
joined
thought the
back
military was a good
in the
place
80s,
to
right?
go. Huh?
You joined the military back in the '80s, so now,
Hmm.
for
In the 80s.
2025, to a young person going into the military now, what would you
Now is different because there are active wars going on.
okay,
So I don't have. I'm not going to advise anybody to go because of that. But prior to that, yeah, I always felt like if you walking around here, you don't know what you're gonna do, you ain't
right.
figured it out. There's the military, and they even have great bonuses out right now, $10,000, $20,000
Mm,
sign-on bonuses right now for these kids who walk around here aimlessly, not
right.
doing what they gonna do. Mom
Mhm.
or daddy wanna already put them out the house because you
Yeah,
age and you ain't acting right and you don't wanna, even get a job. So the military can jump in there and clean you up real quick, and they like I said, they'll learn you. You know, you thought
right.
you didn't know, they gonna teach you, okay?
Mhm, mhm,
And I'm not saying teaching you the profession, they're gonna teach you how to act, okay?
mhm.
Your mama couldn't get you right, they can get you right.
Oh, I believe it.
Mhm.
Mm,
In a way that's respectful, decent, and in order,
right.
because they just lay it on the line to you, you know what I mean? You act like you don't wanna do this, okay? You can just wait till you can look. You got here's your options. You can do your little 3 years you signed up for and walk on out the door. Okay. Um, with an honorable discharge.
Oh,
Okay.
mhm.
Or you act a fool up in here and get this dishonorable discharge, which is the next is next to prison.
Oh my goodness.
It's
Okay.
next to being a felon
Oh,
because you don't get a whole lot of things when you um, have a
dishonorably discharged.
dishonorable discharge. Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
it'll follow you the rest of your life.
Oh, goodness.
Just like a prison term.
Mm-mm. Mhm.
Yeah, girl. So yeah, times is crazy out here, and well, like I said, I did do the military. I'm trying to answer your question. I'm trying to stick to the script here. There's no script. There's no script. We know there's no script.
Yeah, we went
I'm
off.
I'm trying to answer your questions, and you got me whispering because it sounds like you're whispering.
Oh, am I? Oh, okay.
So I'm getting with the whisper,
Trying to be close.
but that's okay because we're still
Right.
here. And but the bottom line is, and maybe like I said, we might have to have a part two. I'll come back.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
You
I'll come
know,
back. And
I love it.
all I'm trying to say is, yeah, I did the military. I had a great time in the military. I was in the military during a time when there was really no active wars like they are going right now. They had a couple of campaigns they call them, and people went and did whatever they had to do. We had to show our muscles. But it was no big deal. Well, it was a big deal. My last 6 months of the military, I went over to Kosovo.
Mhm.
I went to Kosovo. My last year, within that last year, 6 months of that year, I spent in Kosovo, in the Balkans, and that was because the Serbs and the Albanians was fighting each other.
Oh,
Somebody fighting and killing. Okay, so the Serbs they was killing each other. The Serbs and the Albanians, all religion is the only thing that made them different, and I might have it wrong between the Serbs and Albanians, but it was over there in Kosovo. Okay,
so
and they was definitely killing each other. But when I went, it was peacekeeping. We had calmed it down. We went over there, got them straight, and I still, we still always still have rotations to make sure it don't pop off again. And so
mm,
it was a peacekeeping mission when I went.
nice. Okay.
But yeah, but I'm just saying for there to be a war or something going on, there was people warring between themselves, and we went over there and you know called a ceasefire for them.
So when you were there, were you close to Montenegro in the Balkans?
Montenegro? I never heard
Yes.
of it.
Yeah, it's not
That
too
don't mean it ain't there.
right.
Okay,
I was
because
there.
I was on camp. I was there for the military people that may be that may hear this. I was there doing it was some kind of K4 3B K4 3B. Yeah,
Mm,
well they'll know what that means. That was my rotation K4
mhm.
K4 3B. I think yeah, I don't know what it meant. Kosovo something.
What was your what was your favorite thing about being in the military? What did
I
you
got a
like?
jacket because I got a jacket that says all the stuff on it. Oh, excuse me. What you say?
What was your favorite thing about being in the military?
Um, Ironically, because I did not like PT,
Mm,
but I liked the fact that it kept me in shape. And
nice. Yes. Yes.
I like the military a lot. I like the military now. I like order. I like respect. I like discipline.
Mhm.
You
Mhm.
know, I like people that act like they got order, respect, and discipline.
Right.
You know, so there's a lot that comes with that. There's a lot that you gain from that.
Right.
You're going to know how to act. Anywhere I go and work or anything I do is going to be my best.
Right.
So, some people they don't get that, you know, they
Right.
don't understand that's what it takes, and that's what's going to make you great regardless of what you do. And I can say I might not have chosen a lot of things that, to do. I had opportunities that I passed up or allowed to pass me by, even in my military, during my military career. And for whatever reason. And, but still wherever I was, I was good at it. I was very good.
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
and,
Mhm.
and 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 people in the military that know me, or people that knew me during that time period, or if they knew me when I was doing the job I just left doing, they know that I was good at it.
Right. What was
And
your
yeah,
rank? What was
mhm.
your rank, Adrian?
I was at E7. I did retire at E7, and there's a long, hard story behind that. There was a lot of yeah, the story is a big. I have to tell you about that story another time. Yeah,
Okay. So
because
you
I
said
should have retired in E8 at least.
okay, and you were a sergeant, right?
Sergeant first class.
Okay.
Two ranks below the highest rank that can be achieved by a non-commissioned officer in the United States Army.
Okay. Nice.
Because you can be an E9, and then you'll be a sergeant major.
Mhm. Do you think that there's anything that people misunderstand about military veterans?
Yeah, a lot of people they miss the whole boat. You hear me? They miss the whole boat. I remember when I used to come home visiting in the from soldier, right? Just home, just on break,
Mhm.
and I wasn't necessarily home, but I was home. And I say that because my mother was a dependent of mine also, so we travel all together. We would just go back and visit family. But I would hear people, like for instance, well, for okay, I don't want to talk about anybody else's profession. I hate to say make small of anybody's profession, because I think everybody's profession is still good for them,
Right. Yes.
But a lot of people think that a soldier, they don't respect them enough. That's how I feel.
Mm. Wow.
Like that job isn't a good enough job. Well, this to me, okay, to me that is like, what other job is somebody dying for you?
Right.
You
Tell
know,
me. Right.
what other no greater love than a man who will lay down his life for a friend. Okay,
Right. Right.
that's our motto. There's no greater love, and
Mhm.
so God and everybody else knows about that. The greater love.
Mhm.
Only person that died for you was your Lord and Savior. Okay.
Right.
Now your mother might say, the mother might die for a child, right? Husband might die for a wife, and vice versa. But a friend, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What friend you got dying for you? Um, yeah. So soldiers are out there every day, and we fighting like it's our life on the line. You see what I'm saying?
Well, it is your life online.
No,
Yeah.
it's everyone's life on the line.
Right.
We fight for the freedom that
Life
the
is on the
people
line.
who
Well,
get to
everyone
live
else.
it
Mhm.
don't appreciate what the soldiers do to make sure they get it.
So
Right now, we
I
have.
appreciate the
I'm
soldiers.
going to go back to this Trump administration, okay? And the people that are following him, um, and I don't want no, I don't want no, I don't want no pressure, okay? Like I don't want no feedback, okay, people. I don't want no drama from this. But what I'm saying is, and so far I can say they haven't really messed with the veterans too hard, quote unquote.
Mhm.
Um, there's a lot of rhetoric going around, but nothing has changed that I know of.
Mhm. Good. Mhm.
Okay. Yeah, so leave them veterans alone. Leave them veterans alone. Leave them soldiers alone. Because guess what? The very first time any of our non-allies believe that we are weak enough for them to come through,
Mm.
they're gonna come through. Who gonna be ready? You're gonna hope them soldiers ready.
Right.
Okay, because that's all you got.
Right. I hear
And
you.
that's all I have to say about that. You know what I mean? You ain't gonna be like, oh well, I mean, thank God for the brain surgeon, but the brain surgeon is feeding his family. He ain't
Right.
got
Mhm.
and all others below the brain surgery. Okay, and I have respect for the doctors. Okay, I thank God for them. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm just trying to talk about these soldiers right now.
How do you stay connected with the military community? Are you still connected, you feel?
Oh, I have all my most of my friends are military.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Most of them. When I go traveling here, there, wherever I go, talking about in the United States,
Right.
um, and I can go to Germany. I got some friends still in Germany and stuff. But yeah, when I go here, there, yeah, my best friends are some of my military. Um, I met in the military.
Okay.
You know, yeah, a lot of them. I can just think of three girlfriends off the top of my head. I got a lot of close friends. Because I'm a only child, so I take my friends seriously,
Hmm.
and and I don't let everybody in. I'm not a person who everybody my friend. No, no, you're not. You can't be.
You're like, no, no, you're not. Okay.
No, you're not, and you can't be.
Right. So,
Yeah,
do you think that you would ever? I know that you have plans to travel again. Do you think you could ever like really live or leave the United States, like plan on leaving permanently
if I
or
had to,
extended
if I
period
had
of
to, yes. If I had to, yeah, and that's why I like to travel, collect them, like where that place might be.
time? Okay. Hmm.
Where that place might be. That's when I'm going to Ghana next year. Okay,
Nice. How
I'm
long are you
going.
gonna
Yeah,
be
because they
there?
talk about Ghana is the place, so we're gonna check it out. I haven't been, and so I'm going. I've been to a lot of other places, but I
Okay.
haven't been to Ghana.
Hmm. Oh, okay.
And when
Nice.
I go, I like to put my foot on the ground. Walk around amongst the people. That's how I determine if a place is, good or not.
Mhm. Has there been anywhere that you've been that you feel like you could live again, like stay for extended
In the
period of
States,
time outside of the United States?
yeah, a lot of places. Well, not a
Okay.
lot.
Like
Like I can live in Dubai. It's
you could live,
peaceful.
oh, okay.
Yeah, I can live in Kuwait. It's peaceful. I wouldn't live in Kuwait because this is a whole lot of. Well, I like to drink wine, so that's one. So no Kuwait, but Dubai, Qatar.
Mhm.
You know, um, yeah, I could definitely live there and not blink an eye. And
Mhm.
I have friends that live in Dubai. That I
Mhm.
met while I was working overseas, and they just never left. Probably met them a little African girl or something like that, and married her. And they happy.
Right.
Yeah. Um,
So when you
so
were
it's
in
a peaceful
Dubai,
life.
did you have romance when you were in Dubai?
Well, I was never stationed in Dubai. I just came through. It's
Okay.
like a connecting flight. But it's not a connecting flight. But you're gonna go through Dubai at some
Okay.
point.
Mhm.
Dubai, Qatar. If you're traveling around the Middle East, you will have to probably or Istanbul. You will have to get connecting flights through there. But I would always stay. If I had to go to Dubai, I'm not gonna go to Dubai and not do Dubai. I mean, it's just too much to miss out on.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to get my hair done. First thing, I was coming from the jungle, right? I always call it the jungle, even though it was the desert, the dry jungle. So you coming from contracting where you're in a tent and where you're wearing boots and jeans and just work clothes every day. Because you work 12 hours a day, 7 days a week. Okay. They ain't
12
pay you for
hours
nothing.
a day, 7 days a week.
Yeah, 12 hours a day, 7 days a week. So there was never a day off mhm, until you went on vacation. But at least you could go on vacation like every 6 months. And some contracting companies allowed you to go every 4 months. But those wasn't really the ones that paid the big bucks. So
Mhm.
yeah, you tend to want to go with them other ones.
Mhm.
And so
Mhm.
some of them will give you a day off. You might get,
Oh,
you work
good.
6 days a week, 12
Right.
hours a day, or you work 6 days a week, 10 hours a day. But then you wasn't making your money and you over there, you might as well be making your money.
Right.
At least
Okay.
that's how you think when you're young. And that's how I thought. And I was right out the army.
Yeah.
I was ready for them. Okay. I was
I
ready. I was ready for him. I said, I worked 20 years in the United States Army. I got on making $45,000 a year at my pinnacle. I you offer me all this money. What? Talk to me, talk
Yeah.
to me. Yeah. I work your 7 days a week, 12 hours a day. And then yeah. So when I came home, it's like I bust through that Dubai airport like where the Burberry store.
No,
Mm-hmm.
like I got
Where's
my
look, in
Monday.
Dubai, I'd be like, where the gold sook. They'll tell
Right.
you. They
Okay.
take to tell you about Adrian, honey.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a good time. Enjoyed my life. But whatever you want, because
Mm-hmm.
you work like that.
Yes.
So when you come through, everybody. But the thing is, everybody that you meet coming through them airports and staying in them cities, they know who you are too. So
Mm-hmm.
they're like this. Hey, you want to buy this? You want to buy that?
Yeah,
Hey,
really.
look what I got. Look what I got. You know what I
Mhm.
mean?
And yes, American. Yep.
Yeah. When they see you come through, they know what it is. Okay. They know you just got off that chartered flight into Dubai. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's going, no plane is just, you don't get no connecting flight in Afghanistan. Okay.
Oh, okay.
So you get a chartered flight from the war zone into Dubai.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That still lands at a Dubai airport. And it's just crazy. It was crazy. I mean, it's still going on for somebody, but it ain't going on for me no more.
You like this. So now with the second part of your life, what do you plan on doing? What do you think?
Come closer because I can't hear you.
What are your goals now that you're living the second part of your life?
Oh, it's the dream. It's the dream. It's the dream. And this podcast life that we about to embark upon, you and I, right? We going
Right.
in together. We're going in together, hand in hand, head
Right.
first.
Yes.
This podcast life, it doesn't even have to. I'm not trying to be Shannon Sharp. Wait a minute. Yeah, Shannon Sharp, or I can't be them. They're a whole nother level. You see, that's how I look at them
But
because
to be who you can be.
I'm not trying to be the Shannon Sharp. I'm not trying to be. Um, I'm not thinking that podcasting is going to make me any kind of. Well, I am. No, I ain't gonna tell no lies. I
You
ain't
say?
gonna tell no lies. But I plan on it. I'm quiet. You know what I mean? I'm gonna do that quiet power situation. I just want to get mine. Okay. I'm here to work. I can put in the work they want me to put in, and still at the same time quietly. And that's why, without making any kind of getting too big headed about anything, I want to make sure first I'm doing this estering.
Exactly. That's the purpose, right?
As long as I'm putting in that work toward um, my passion, my philanthropy.
Right.
Um, I think I'm gonna be good because that's gonna keep me grounded.
Mm-hmm.
Doing for those kids, doing for foster children, for foster care, period. Seeing what kind of changes that we can really make.
Right.
I definitely want to make a mark on um, improving the foster care system. I believe it got to be possible.
Yes. Great.
So we're gonna see.
I
We're
think there
gonna
are a
see.
lot
'Cause I'm definitely gonna dig in.
Yeah, there are a lot of children out there, young people who need that, especially now.
Yeah.
It's
But the
great.
thing is to know what they need, to hear what they say, and it's going to be hard because the government protects the children, and rightfully so. I'm not going to get like, we'll see, because I don't think that I'm going to get interviews with people who work with the kids because that's a privacy
Right, yes.
thing.
Right.
um but I still will get to do what I can do at volunteering, me and others who volunteer with me for the kids. And they'll see that movement. They definitely, foster children will know my name.
Right.
That's how I'm looking at it.
You
And, and,
align.
the, and the only way they're going to know it is because of the good that's going to be coming out of the Esthering brand.
Right, great.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's what I want. I want even those children who are foster kids who like age out of the foster care system. Those are the ones who I want to reach out to, who can call me, hit me up.
Mm-hmm.
I got an Instagram. I'm the Esthering Queen. Y'all can hit me up. I can interview you. Um, and maybe together we can make some changes, because I'll know, straight from them what they
Exactly.
experienced and what they think needs to be done better. And we can address it that way.
Right, as they transition from it. Yep, that makes a lot of sense.
I,
So,
I mean, we're just going to see. I just don't think nothing has been done to that level.
mhm,
And I think a lot of times foster kids or people who have been in the foster care system, um, they kind of try to just like forget about that life. They like try to put it to the side, like try to, that it's more of an embarrassment to them to even say, you know what I mean? I've been surprised that I've seen on TV a lot of star
celebrity.
actors and stuff, um, even admit, oh, I was a foster, I was a foster care system. I was a foster kid, you know.
Right.
I mean, I realizing that I know that a lot of foster kids have had great lives, but it's just still so many people out there that just don't want to be affiliated with it.
Mhm, mhm. So as we wrap up,
Okay.
because we're counting down now our time, is there anything else you wanna leave us with, Adrian?
Well, I definitely want to come back.
You will.
I definitely want to come back. I want us to have more conversations, because I personally, that's another reason why I think I need to be a podcaster. Why I'm going to be here for the people, because I got a lot to say.
Yes. I
You know,
think the next time we
a lot
we
of,
should
I have a lot.
do
I have a lot of opinions. I'm an only child, so I don't get to talk a lot,
right.
but
So
I
I
can
think next
right
time
here.
we need
You
to
talk.
add people. We can do remember we were talking about, like, adding people, answering questions and things like that. So,
Yeah, we need to bring on a
a little
panel.
right? I think so.
But this is our first time. We're still trying to get ourselves together. So yeah. So next
Mhm.
time, or soon enough.
Right.
Let me see. This is still April the 4th. What is it, 4th, 5th? What is this?
It's the
The
3rd.
3rd.
Yeah.
It ain't even midnight. So
I
it's
think
still
no, it's
April. It's still
April.
April 3rd.
Right,
And hey, before the end of this month, we could have a panel.
right. We can.
I'm
That's
sure I can. I definitely can get someone on. I don't know what they'll be.
okay, that's a
The
bet.
relevancy will be,
Mhm,
but we can do that.
mhm.
Yeah. So that's what we're doing. We're just saying that this podcast thing is possible. Oh, I never mentioned. Can I say one more thing before we wrap it up?
Of course.
No, my main thing, because of course, obviously, to those who can see me, I'm not no spring chicken, right? And so
Listen,
that was another point.
we happy to be here now. Listen, I'm
Yeah,
happy.
yeah. Hmm?
I said I'm just happy to be here. I lost a lot of people along the way. I'm happy to be here.
Right, absolutely. But what I'm just saying is that I'm 62. Let's just say it. Let me just
Mhm.
put it on out there for you. And at this age, I just want to be engulfed in still learning,
Right,
and still growing, and still being, and still becoming. And
right,
I expect a whole lot out of life if I'm to live it.
right.
That's just my mantra, you know.
Mhm. Yep. Okay.
Okay, girl.
We're gonna end here
And
and
thank you for having me so much.
Doris, oh, thank you so much. Thank you. So we will end here and we'll wrap things up. But I just want to thank my guest, Adrian, for being on my first episode of the GenXcellent podcast. And thank you for listening. And if you have any questions or any concerns, just hit us up. So what about your contact information, Adrian? You want to leave something?
Well, my Instagram is TikTok. I'm the Esthering Queen on TikTok,
Okay.
and I'm just Adrian B Jackson on Instagram for Esthering. Look in the future. I plan on getting a Esthering Facebook group for
Okay.
everybody that has we're for the like-minded people and dealing with foster care systems and all that. We can be able to have great group discussions. So I look for it's coming. I haven't
Okay.
started the Facebook group just yet.
Hmm.
But you just look forward to hearing from me. This won't be the last.
Okay. So we'll be looking forward. All right. Well, I wish you a good night. Mwah.
See you.
Good
Bye.
night.